Hi, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hitstreak. Check it out. I got to give a big shout out to my show sponsor, my friends over at AVLX. I also have to give a big shout out to Charles Henry and Ace Young, the amazing performers and producers of the music behind the show, as well as the amazing people that make up the Hit Lab creative team, who are the producers of the show. Folks, I have a favor to ask. If you like what you hear, and I know you do, click that subscribe button to make sure you get alerted when new episodes are dropped. Thanks for tuning in.
The real success stories told by the people who live them.
We're going to have some guests on this show that everybody knows, and we're going to have guests on this show that nobody knows yet.
One by one, Nick Hyder is adding hits to the hit streak.
Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of The Hit Streak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder, and today in the Hit Lab, I've got a double dose of star power with me today. You guys would have seen them on pretty much any platform in which you seek your entertainment, whether it be TV, radio, film, or stage. They are just back from their residency in Las Vegas. I've got the honor of introducing you to Ace Young and Diana DeGarmo. Guys, thanks so much for hanging with me today.
Hey.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for having us.
We are so excited we actually get to be here with you today. It's been amazing seeing you create this entire amazing production room, but to be able to use it with you, this is it. This is why we work hard, right? To be able to enjoy everything and actually be able to hang out and use the stuff that you made. This is incredible, man. I'm really proud of you for this.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute blast and education at the same time. But it's so cool to be able to have amazing people come in and just share stories and talk and maybe inspire some folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, happy to be here.
Got to share the spirit.
Well, if there, a lot of folks will be like, how in the world did Nick get those guys to come on his podcast? I'm fortunate enough that through my wife, not only are we big fans of you guys, but we're proud to call you really good friends. And if you've checked out our social media, you guys know they've seen pictures of you because not only are you great performers, but like you literally have built some amazing things, right? Including Ethan's drum room.
Hey, yeah, we did do that to make sure he could make some noise when he wanted to make the noise.
Yes,
right. And
had
that
to
way he had the
support
freedom.
the growing talent of the family.
Yeah, but there was one underlined benefit on top of Ethan getting an amazing drum room, and that was seeing you enjoy the drum room.
Yes.
Because you're a sick drummer, man.
Shredded,
so
man.
to be able to actually just walk in, you didn't even know I was at the house. I was walking in to seeing you jamming, sweating it out in the drum room. Like, that's why we make these things.
Yeah, I think it was
incredible.
I think it was a Bon Jovi medley that he was fortunate enough to walk in on. And yes, I built that for my son and me, absolutely.
As it should be. That's
okay.
How do you teach your son things that you know? You teach him things that you know. If you don't know, you're both learning at the same time, and you need somebody else to teach you.
That's right.
So you're teaching him everything you know. You're a killer drummer, dude. Well,
I appreciate it. See, I told you they were great people. They're so nice. It's so nice. Look, man, it's been a crazy. It seems like just yesterday. It was a couple years ago. You guys have by far the best Halloween party ever, and we were there, and that was right pre-pandemic. Right, and you guys, it's so hard to catch you guys because you're always gigging and on the road. Like I just mentioned, you just got back from Vegas.
Yeah. Before 2020 came, typically we are only home about 30 to 40 days a year. Mm-hmm. We travel for what we do, whether, yes, we live here in Nashville. We love Nashville being kind of our hub, our home base of sorts. And, it's our little getaway, even though a lot of people have found out about it recently and moved here.
That's right.
But, when 2020 happened, we just kind of had to, the whole world had to hit the brakes. And mm-hmm. we were 3 days away from opening a brand new show. We were in Chicago, and we came home kind of all going, we'll be back to work in a couple weeks. Well, fast forward 18 months was when that finally happened again in person. And so, yeah, we are typically known for being the entertainers of all of our friend circles because that's just who we are naturally. But it's been weird to kind of be told you can't do what you do
Right.
for so long. Like, it was just kind of this weird no man's land to be kind of sitting in for weeks. And we all thought, oh, it'll be a couple more weeks. And then, just slowly became what it was. But I could also say we are lucky, though, that at one point we were one or two of only 50 people in our entire Actors Equity Union, which is 50,000 people plus working. Because luckily we were able to pivot into some digital work thanks to the internet. Technology.
It's been amazing. Truthfully, like when COVID shutdown happened, we got to be home for the first time in our lives.
Yeah.
Truthfully, because we've been performing and entertaining since we were kids. So this was the first time we were told to just stay. And throwing the Halloween party every year, we always want to make sure it's memorable for everyone. That comes, but we also want to make sure they get a little scared.
That's right.
Because Halloween is one of our favorite holidays because of the potential of fear. It's something that drives a lot of people, and I've now finally gotten past that point of actually using fear to better my life. Because no, there's nothing to be afraid of. When you're older, you find that out.
That's right.
But it was so much fun being able to do these big Halloween bashes at our house, and now we have to think once we know what the new COVID terms are, what we can actually accomplish and put together. We were fortunate a couple years. I think the year you were there, we just had a plumbing issue, and I had personally dug out 40 feet by 4 feet deep to fix the PVC pipe leaving our house. And I was trying to get ready to actually put the mud back in the day before the party, and I couldn't use my arms anymore. They were done. Like, it was clay, man. I had to use hose on the clay just to break it down. I had to then use the shovel on top of that just to try to take a foot at a time. But after 40 feet by 4 feet in depth, I couldn't move my arms. And Diana had the brilliant idea. She said, well, why don't you go look for some things to accent this amazing hole in the backyard.
That you just put into our yard while we have, 40 people on their way to our
coming
house.
over. So I then just get in the car like you do, and I went to the store looking for what I was supposed to find, not knowing what it is yet, and I found these bags of skeleton bones. And it was perfect because it made it look like the skeletons were crawling out of the ground.
That's right.
This massive hole in the backyard, and they were coming to kill us, which made it that much more fearful and that much more of an experience.
Listen, as actors, you always have to be a problem solver because what we do is happening specifically for stage, but also for TV and film. It's happening live, and you want it to happen in real life. So it's funny when you kind of can spin something from your work into your personal life and vice versa.
We dressed the set.
We just made the set look better. It's like, okay, we have this giant hole. What do we do with this so it doesn't look like a giant hole? Zombies and skeletons and archaeological sites, sure.
Now, if I had the AVLX connection, I might change it up with some lights because I'm sure that the lighting is ridiculous.
I know people.
Some sound cues to actually, people walk by sensors and we scare them again with another thing that you don't have to physically be there for, so I can enjoy the beer in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do love our Halloween, and it's a lot easier to get our friends on Halloween celebrations than it is for Christmas.
Absolutely.
Because that's the big family time. So we get to see our friends for Halloween.
And you guys are really busy every Christmas with all the Christmas shows and parties. So
we are.
The residency you guys just got back from was a big, it was at the Venetian in Las Vegas, and it was a Christmas show, right?
Yes.
Tell the folks about that.
So, like I said, the shutdown, it impacted the entertainment industry greatly. And I think everyone is just now in 22 finally feeling like we're all kind of back to normal. So it was great to finally have this residency back in Vegas at the Venetian, celebrating, a great time of year when people want to finally get together again and, celebrate life and celebrate family and love and being together. And the fact that we all made it through healthily is shocking and amazing because in our industry with the very strict COVID protocols, the moment a case pops up,
right,
everyone has to go home.
Sure.
And what we do, we're in such close contact. We're sitting there singing, spitting on people, and vice versa. When we're out in the audience, and you want to protect your audience as much as you want to protect your coworkers and your staff. So the fact that we made it through the 3 contracts from, the last quarter of 21 is shocking. The fact that they even happened, because, also with things switching constantly, like my first in-person job since March of 2020, which is the longest time in my career I have gone without performing on stage, which was about 18 months. I didn't get cleared from my union until the Friday before the Monday I was supposed to start rehearsal.
Wow.
Because, the government was changing protocols. They had to keep up with it. The theaters had to keep up with it. But
a lot of liability from the performance standard, I can imagine.
Yeah. And they put so many new standards on the theaters.
Yeah.
So regional theater has been taking the biggest impact economically. So if you have a theater in your community that you have appreciated or loved, most of them are nonprofit, so please go buy a ticket. They could really use your support right now. A lot of companies,
there you go. Get to the hit streak, baby. Support local.
Support local, because it comes back to you tenfold. As much as we do love going to see, going up to New York and seeing our theater, seeing our Broadway shows, if you have a local company of actors or a touring house, wherever you are, where shows come through, go and support them, because they really could use the help. This long of a break has been really hard on our industry, and many people just completely shut down, and most folks are still barely standing on two legs. So like I said, we felt so fortunate to not only get to go back to a theater, but we got to go to Vegas.
That's right.
So we were in the Venetian celebrating the holidays on stage, with 10 other performers, a whole orchestra. Like it was a blessing.
That place has an amazing room. Like that is an amazing hall.
Yes. Oh yes. The Vegas knows, I'm telling you, they know how to put on a show, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They know how to really spice it up for sure.
Yeah. And the community of performers there are wonderful folks, just like you find anywhere in the world. And they're very eager for people to come back and see shows too.
Absolutely.
I think the whole world is, because ultimately when we dove in and got into this, you realize what entertainment is it's kind of the overnight success of one opportunity. One thing could be a life change. That's American for both of us. That one moment we prepared for forever, you might have not known you were preparing for it, but you prepared for that specific moment. You sang that one song that you knew the best, and you did your thing. You had a life moment. Entertainment's that for us, even when we get jobs. Like every year you get a new job. It could be one day. It could be 2 weeks. For us, it could be 6 months. It could be a year. Every job is that moment of, wow, it's the life change opportunity to then, within the art system, put in your stamp and then re-inspire and push the art to the next level. With COVID, it's been really interesting because the movie doesn't end when you get the part, because you still don't know if the movie's going to be shot, so to speak. So it's like we're all fighting to get the opportunity to speak our art and have the position, but a lot of people don't realize how many people it actually takes and how much every single person, even if you're the one just going to get bagels, making sure that you're staying clean matters, because you could get everybody in production sick if you went out and ventured and got something and brought it back. It's so strange to now see that getting the job doesn't mean that you got the job.
Right.
Well, getting the job is just the beginning.
On fire.
It is. And, so with what we do, I've been performing, I'm going to say this out loud, world.
2 years.
2 years. Oh my gosh, it looks so good for my age. But I'm ticking on 30 years, which is wild to think.
What?
I don't feel like I've been alive long enough. Yes, granted, my first professional job was when I was a kid. So
get out.
Yeah. But to see, how you just kind of have to keep going. And every time, a lot of folks that are out in the world may have one job or two job or something that they're with for a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. I've, had so many jobs that can last a day, can last an hour, could last a week, could last 6 months. And so you just have to be very resilient. So even though, we were told we had to go home in March of 2020 and sit down, we still all remained resilient. And it's great to see, how many performers are coming back, and we're not going anywhere.
That's right.
And when things kind of hit the fan, people do turn to entertainment. They want to be consoled. They turn to artists. So we're happy to be there. Whether you want to be happy, you want to be sad, we're there to support you and also tell the story of what's happening in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, so we talk a lot about business on this show, and all business, there's revenue that came from some form of marketing, right? That makes the world go round in the world of business. So, I had my buddy Rod, who he was DJing in Vegas when I was there last weekend. He goes back and forth, and we were talking about how performers are some of the greatest. I mean, you guys drive revenue to the largest scale on the planet. Right, you guys are the revenue, like you're the ones driving that revenue. So not only do you have to be able to sell yourselves to get the job or to get the agent or get the opportunity, but then you guys are the draw.
Yes, yeah, the game starts all over again as soon as you book the job. Like I said, the job is just the beginning of the next round of the job. You know, you get hired for numerous reasons, whether it be your talent, your personality, your drive, whatever it might be. Hopefully it's a little mixture of all of the above. But then you also have to help get butts in seats, get people to buy tickets or to buy, to get streams or whatever it might be. There is some form of that. The job gets even bigger once you
That's right.
once you booked it. Yeah. You have to continually sell yourself again and again through social media, telling people who you are, what you're doing, what you're up to, but also being genuine about it, because it is easy to become disingenuous and go, well, hey, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And people go, well, why should I care? Because half the reason also why people want to see a certain artist, whether it be Lady Gaga or, Chris Hemsworth in a movie, whoever it might be, you're going to go see that person because you like that person too.
Absolutely.
So who you are is half of what you're selling on top of the art you're also making. So it can sometimes lead to a crazy life.
Absolutely.
And several, mental, what the heck?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? But, when you get out on stage or you see people moved by what you do, it all works out.
Most definitely.
Yeah, it makes it worth it.
Much like sports. I mean, it's one thing to be able to hit a baseball, 400 feet, but to be able to do it when it's a curveball.
Absolutely.
And it started at your head,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a strike.
And then with all the TV and everybody watching you and waiting for you to screw up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So like you train for it, but
right.
since you are the brand, it makes me think of an old quote that Tiger Woods said in the beginning of his career, and that is that he only swings 80% of his strength. So if you go up and try to grip and rip it at 100%, you don't have complete control of where the ball goes. If you get a slice, it might be 30 yards to the right. But if he hits 80%, instead of going 350 yards, he's going 320, and he's right in the middle of the fairway. He has a good lie for the next shot. So if you're going to be able to do 8 shows a week and do the press day on Monday for that next week of the push when you are the brand, you have to realize what your 100% push is of your physicality, and you have to know what your 80% is. So when you're in that 10-hour rehearsal, you're not pushing yourself to the point of you can't do the show now. So you really have to pick your times to throw it in. And the one thing that really, really hit me with acting is you get to pick the way you express things. And your expression can be what gives a lot of the energy as well. So you don't have to be crazy all out energy out guy 24/7. What's nice is that you show the variance of who that person is, so he's not just the guy that yells at you all day.
Absolutely.
That's what we get to do with characters. But it's very interesting just to know what you're capable of and know you don't want to go 100% on everything.
Right.
Because oftentimes a single wins the game. It's not not the grand slam.
That's right.
And
That's
consistency is key.
There it is.
Whether you are a brand that someone buys something from, a service or a good, or you're a person, which we are technically a brand. We offer a service and goods in our own form. When people know what they can expect from you because of your consistency, you're going to have people return to you more often, and then you're going to be the best. You're going to be more likely to be the best version of yourself more often than if you try to, like I said, bat at 100%, only 4 or 5 times, or you could bat at 80%. 20 times.
Yeah.
And and that's just knowing yourself, and who you are and what you do. Being stage actors and in musical theater, you are very hyper aware of your physicality. So, whether it's getting sick or twisting an ankle or a toe injury or like whatever it is, you learn to adapt to those different things that are constantly coming up because we're humans and we break down.
Absolutely.
And that's okay too. Don't always be so many performers are very hard on themselves about, I'm feeling weird today. Well, yeah, you just woke up, calm down. You don't have to fight the fight until you show up at the ringside.
Yeah,
so calm down.
The high note of your show is not coming at 10 a.m.
No, yeah, exactly.
The coffee can go through you.
Yeah, but if you know, like, hey, I'm a smart actor. I take care of myself. I've slept. I drink my water. I do my warm-ups or whatever it is. If you know you can give a consistent, good show that's not going to be a hindrance to your fellow performers or be a letdown to your audience
or your own health
or your own health, more importantly, then you're doing your job,
right?
And that's okay. Don't stress about like, I have to be at 2,000% every moment. That's a really fast way to burn out so quickly. And I think, didn't realize how much of that we had started to kind of pick up because we were so busy. So when we were forced to stop in 2020, we collectively as an industry, you felt everyone go, okay. We all were burning the candle a little too much on both ends.
Sure.
And you started to see whether it be shows having bad reviews or whether it being movies getting things, starting.
Or fatigue, taking people out.
Yeah. You see a poor show running on 4 swings and, a wing and a prayer because they're just trying to get through. And that actually happened again over this holiday season. A lot of Broadway shows had to actually close and are on breaks now until the spring because it was easy for everyone to kind of get back into that, go. I was like, guys, no.
Yeah.
Our big takeaway from all of this is what we were doing before was too much.
Right.
And we're burning people out. So, we've luckily tried, kind of recalibrated back to our idea of, again, being consistent is more important than always being the star.
Yeah. Be here, be present with what you have to offer, and don't go too hard on yourself.
Yeah, but also shine when you need to shine.
No, you're all shine. You have to shine. That's a given.
Absolutely. So that's what makes you guys so unique and amazing. So besides the talent, right? I had Charlie Monk, the Mayor of Music Row, in here last week, and he used one word over and over and over again. I asked him, what's the one thing all stars have in common? And he said, authenticity, right? True to themselves. You guys, so a buddy of mine told me, he's like, a candle doesn't lose its flame by lighting another candle, right? And I thought that was extremely powerful. And you guys have been so you mentioned before, knowing who you are, being true to yourself and those things. And it's the hardest for you because when you're hired out to do a show, they want you to do things a certain way. In business, like what makes a restaurant is how they do their food and the atmosphere and the culture that they've created and sold. Just like this show has a concept, right? And you guys as artists, even though you've done everything under the sun and done it well, you've done it well, but you've had to be true to yourself, right? And you've always made everybody else around you shine brighter than they did before too. So like, talk to me about the dynamic of you two. So you're stars in your own right. Okay. So everybody should know, but if they don't, you're husband and wife.
We are. He is stuck with me for eternity.
So, and I'm here freely. I actually choose to be here.
Sure.
So tell everybody, a lot of people know the story of how you met, right? But just give them the abridged version because they could literally YouTube it and watch 100,000 clips over it on your history and all that stuff. So tell the folks what you want to know about how you guys met.
So Ace and I...
A lot of people think we met on Idol, and we didn't.
Thank goodness, because I was 16
Diana was a baby
on the show, and he was not, so that would have been awkward.
Okay. So let's just clear the air right now.
Yes.
Yep.
So that did not happen then, but fast forward and to a Broadway show.
When she was 22, 2 years ago.
Yes. Exactly. Y'all, I trained him well.
Yep.
No, in 2010, we were both hired to do the Broadway revival of Hair. And we were just both hired as actors, Ace Young and Diana DeGarmo. No, yes, we had done American Idol, and that was a big part of how we got introduced into musical theater. Was that celebrity kind of helped bridge us into that world, even though both of us had been doing that in other ways prior to Idol, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, so yes, we met doing a Broadway show, and we were technically the first quote-unquote American Idol couple. I apologize to the press people. I didn't know I was supposed to send out a release when I started dating people. And we got married in 2013, I think to everyone's surprise. We did get engaged on the finale of Idol because he knew that would be the absolute last place on the world.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I would think that would happen.
She was in work mode, so she was not thinking of personal forever.
It's right. Podcast fit.
Right?
And we have been consistently working together basically since, which is super rare in our industry to do this many contracts and this many shows together. We toured together with Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat for almost 2 years, right after we got married. Ace in the title role of Joseph and myself as the narrator. And we made it through all 328 some odd, performances.
The only reason I know is because we actually had a bet with everybody in the cast who would make it through every show. And out of 48 people within the crew and the touring company, 3 of us made every single show. Diana, myself, and 1 other cast member.
Wow.
Everybody else had to call out at some point.
Wow.
It was intense. It was fun.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. It was like P90X 8 times a week. That was a workout, that show.
As you tour the country. So, kind of almost like, I hate to say I'm an athlete, but I'm an athlete.
Yeah, girl.
It is. It's, it's a part of, again, consistency and endurance and keeping, that was my job, was to be on stage 8 times a week, and we did it. And fast forward, it's crazy to think it's 2022 now, but we've done everything from Broadway shows to tours to films and TV, and a lot of it together, which is pretty shocking.
Concerts, had a lot of fun traveling, and we also get to support each other when we're auditioning.
Right.
So when we're running lines, we're not just running lines with somebody who's reading the page. We're reading lines with someone who's actually going to act back.
Yeah.
So you don't get that in auditions half the time.
Right.
You walk in and the person next to your director doesn't give you anything.
Absolutely.
So it's been really nice to be able to grow as an actor with my wife and really see things that she does that I can learn from, and vice versa, and we can really make ourselves stronger in every aspect. We're the youngest siblings of big families. I'm the 5th, she's the 4th, so we always wanted to be a part of the group. But now we get to be the leaders to show those other younger siblings that they have a place. Everybody has a place.
It's smart too, because you guys do all these gigs together by choice, right? But I'm not in it, but I could imagine if I was calling to book Ace, he would probably have to check the family schedule to see if he's able to do it and whatnot. And when the family's going with you, right? When you get the whole family, that's a package deal. That's really smart and pretty unique, because like you guys just said, it's rare that the dynamic you guys have, that not many people. But I work with my wife, and people are always like, "How?" Right?
Yeah, people think we're crazy. Like, a lot of times they just kind of think, they're like, "There's no way you can make that work. I don't want to see my spouse or be around, or what we do." But we got to know one another working, and we figured out how that dynamic worked for us. And when we get to work, we're no longer Ace and Diana, husband and wife. Yeah, like we didn't get divorced on the way in, but we don't try to use our relationship against people.
Sure.
Sometimes couples will do that.
Other people in the company, they're not against both of us. They don't have to agree with both of our creative ideas. We're strictly just our own actors at work.
Yeah, I go off, I do my job, and Ace does his job, and then at the end of the day, we can commiserate about it, or prep for the next day, whatever we need to do. together, and it's great because we kind of get that out of the way quickly and then get to the fun stuff.
The only time Rhea and I struggled with that is when both of us weren't secure, and I was the problem, right? Rhiannon's very secure in who she is and what she can do, and like you have to have that. Like I was the problem because I wasn't secure, I was intimidated or whatever it was. I wasn't comfortable with myself, and once I got there, all the problems magically just went away. It's amazing how that works.
It is.
It is.
You marry someone that you look up to.
Absolutely.
And she's the strength that got you to the strength you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And she probably always saw it from day one. I'm sure that Diana saw things in me that she's seeing now, but that's it. You marry someone you look up to and that you truly love and adore.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be an argument. Like if we need help throughout the day, that's awesome that we get to lean on each other. Send a text and
Absolutely.
you get to run to Kroger on the way back. Like, this is great. This is teamwork.
Absolutely.
But we all become stronger together for sure.
So that was actually something I wanted to talk about a lot. Just like working with your best friend. Like, that's a absolute privilege. And so again, you get interviewed all the time. You're in front of press and people every day, right? What makes this cool is, one, I know you different than most of those people do, so I get to talk about things that most people don't get to do, right? So, what are some things that you've never been asked before about working with your best friend? Because, like, again, it's a choice. You're stars in your own right, and you can go do your own things.
It is. Well, I would say we had a really unique experience over the last year, because our industry, we usually are out with large groups. We have a whole team. There's a crew, there's a director, there's a producer. It takes a village to put on any production of any size. It always, people like to think, oh, look, the person on camera or the person on stage, they did all. No, there's usually several more deep. But when we were all stuck at home, so right before, let me preface this. Before the shutdown, Ace and I were supposed to go out on tour with the show. Obviously, that did not happen. So this unique experience...
Is it coming back? Because, like, I saw all the press leading up to that, and it looked freaking awesome.
Yes. That show is coming back.
Excellent.
Yes, that show, finally. Woohoo!
All right.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. But we were scheduled... we had like 2 years worth of work that just evaporated. And so we were supposed to go out on tour with this other show. And, obviously that was no longer going to happen. And so when people started doing these kind of virtual things, if you had said a year prior, hey, I'm going to do a virtual show, they would have thought you had a third eye.
That's correct.
Like, people thought that was an insane idea. But it's amazing how, when it became the only option, not so crazy anymore.
It's doable. Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's why the studio exists, literally because of that.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
So Ace, I got asked to do 2 virtual productions, and having to navigate that, just those 2 things by myself was a doozy. They sent everything to the house.
Lights, costumes, green screen, cameras, sound.
Wow.
You're running it all.
Yeah, and it was kind of like Amazon Christmas, every day. And by the 3rd time, they said, actually, we want to do First Date. We want to do the show you guys were going to take out, just so people get to at least see you guys do this.
Oh, my God.
Even if it wasn't going to be the tour. Y'all, we had to make basically our whole house a studio.
Yeah.
That was the biggest test of our lives and of our relationship and of the summer heat in Tennessee, because we have a tiny house and you had to turn the air conditioner off, otherwise you'd hear it on the microphone.
Oh, no.
We also had a couple foster dogs that wanted to join us everywhere we went.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that before long, because you guys do a lot.
So
foster dogs.
we had a whole room green screened out. The whole floor is green screened out. And one of the fosters just wanted to follow us. So we're like, it's okay. They'll follow us. The minute we left them alone in that room, what'd they do? They marked that room up.
Right.
So then on green screen, all we see is the P mark. Because it's a different color now. It was like, now we have to wash everything. All right, dogs can't come in here. So they learned how to stop right at the green screen and sit there and just wag their tail. But then they're still making noise. So if we have a mic on, they can't move. We hear the feet on the wood floor. Like, it was a lot. We learned a lot.
Yeah, and we're used to, wearing many hats when you do something, and that's just the nature of the biz sometimes. Sometimes you get really posh and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a person that's their job. I don't have to okay. But typically that is not how it rolls, and that's fine. But this production in our house was literally the two of us doing everything. And before you could even say one word, you had to turn on both the mics, turn on all the lights, make sure the music was set, have the ear, but we were wardrobe department, makeup department, everything. And we got done and I said, okay, you miss going back on stage? You miss IATSE?
I definitely missed a team, for sure. I missed a team. But the one thing that never changed is, since we love working together, from day one, we worked for a year before we ever dated.
Right.
Maybe 2. We dated for, you were on tour for the year after that. We started dating that year after the show. So we, like kids going to school, not knowing what we're going to do for the day, already knew we loved hanging out and problem solving together.
Right.
But we just didn't know what we got to get our hands dirty with. So if you show up and you get to make a sandcastle with professional sandcastle makers, that's a pretty cool day. You're going to learn how to get it just wet enough so it can hold its shape, and you get to learn how to do the art stuff and put it together. But the team is the most important part.
And we still had a virtual team, so we were recording with them live. So they are all in their respective homes, and we have the laptop up, and they're all their little cameras. And the director's going, okay, can you try it again? Maybe do it this way. Maybe put your hand here, while they're just looking through a Zoom camera. And then we have to get online and send it through, Dropbox it to them. And these are megawatt files, which, by the way, we're only filming on our phone. Who would have thought that the cell phone would have been the camera that we were all going to turn to?
1080p and everything, yeah.
I mean,
they're amazing, right?
The technology it is such a game changer. And it is something that live theater has really not embraced until recently. They've kind of gone kicking and screaming against like streaming. Oh, heaven forbid. That would never have happened in a million years. But again, when it's the only option, it's funny how you go, okay, let's make it work, which I was so proud to see our industry finally kind of, even though it was a shakeup, no one wanted, needed, hopefully, it ended up being something we did need. We needed a little bit of a wake up to realize how important it is, for humans to gather. We take that for granted so much. We are not little islands. We are creatures that are meant to be together. And we took that for granted, but also the joy and the teamwork it takes to put on a performance. I think everyone grew another great appreciation for the team and the family that it takes to put on something together like that, and then make it look, super seamless and easy.
That's right.
But to get back to the original question.
Oh, though that was my story.
It's old. It's okay. No, to get back to the original question, you vibe with who you vibe with.
Yeah.
You should never work with people that you don't vibe with, period. It's just a waste of time. And if it's family, you don't have to give people time just because you're related. If you really love being around people, you create your family. You create the gathering of people that you want around you, and you are lucky if it happens to be your wife or your spouse, your significant other. But we never went through those times where other people look at you and go, it's hard, right?
Sure.
We don't look at life that way. Life is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's start at fantastic as a norm. Like,
You
life
woke
is
up
amazing.
today. Life is great.
Dude, oh my God. We talk about that every day. I ask the agents all the time, if you woke up tomorrow and you could only have what you were thankful for today, what would you be thankful for? And they're like, well, everything. And it's like, well, are you? Right? I mean, are you? If I give you $1 million or you don't wake up tomorrow, what do you take? Everybody wakes up. Everybody wakes up. It's amazing how that works. And you guys, that was amazing. That's probably the biggest nuke that's ever been dropped on the show, was like, I'm grateful I woke up. That's it. We're going to give it another one.
Do it. That's how it should start. The show should start like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm grateful to be awake today.
That's right.
Woo!
And that's the beginning of the day.
We're going crazy.
That's it. But we're here to literally just make ourselves into the people that we don't even know we're capable of.
It's a gift, man.
And if you're not happy, change it.
Yeah.
You are the person that is in charge of your life. And we had that moment when, the government is telling you, you can't go to work. It's a bizarre world to just sit in where you're like, okay, the rest of the world went back to work. We are verbally told we are non-essential, which I get it. We were not there to protect people or to help people, but we tried to, people tried to be supportive as they could be in their own ways. So no, we were not essential. But to really be told you're non-essential, your brain goes, ooh, your psyche takes a bit of a hit.
Yeah. Says who?
Right? And so eventually you have to go, okay, do I want to be a performer? Do I not want to be a performer? What am I doing? And luckily, I think, we all had those moments where it's like, nah, I think I'm out of the business. I'm done with it. I'm out of here. And then you wake up and you go, nah, I love it. It's who I am. It's what we do. And
that's right.
But because it does make me happy. But I had to stop and think about it because we were going before the break happened. And we were just kind of continuing to push because that's what you do in our industry. If you don't push it, nobody's going to.
Right.
I mean, your agent can only push you as much as they can. So you're 2/3 of the work, the workhorse. And but it's great to know like we're back to it and we're grateful for it. But you get the choice every day how you feel about it.
Absolutely.
That's it. Anybody in your life, especially your partner, should be the person you can't wait to wake up and talk to.
Absolutely. That's a big one. So you mentioned the word opportunity. Opportunity. We love that word around here because most people don't recognize it when it's right in front of them, right? So let's remind everybody. So you mentioned AIDA, which you guys said something to me before we started shooting that was incredibly cool, which was so the show American Idol is 20 years old now, right?
Yes.
So that means there's 200 top 10 finalists. You're no longer a big fish in a small pond. It's a big pond now. And there's a lot of those top 10 that aren't doing anything in the field anymore.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are only really a handful kind of still working in the industry, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're on the cover of Us Weekly or whatever it is.
Right.
The thing that it's been really cool to see with kind of the Idol family that we have, whether we like it or not.
That's right. I get it.
Right? Is to see folks that have been also able to turn their Idol careers into other things. Some people have just been like, nope, I'm done. I performed, I'm good. And they've gone on and they're very happy with that.
Yeah.
Some we have the Carrie Underwoods and the Kelly Clarksons of the world that are, megawatt stars.
Yeah.
Jennifer Hudson, huge stars. And each of us kind of had these moments where we touched those star moments.
Sure.
And I realized, like, no, that's not for me.
I mean, you got proposed to in front of Ryan with Ryan Seacrest. With Ryan Seacrest.
Ryan was your first photographer, actually, on the side of the stage.
Yes, he
of
did
you
take
as a
our picture
proposed
with
person.
the cell phone.
How many microphones does he hold for other people to do something like that? You know what I'm saying? How cool is that?
Yeah, but we feel grateful to have taken the opportunity when we found our way into theater, and we just found a community that we really loved. We've been really multifaceted, whether it be recording or TV, film, stage, or whatnot. But the stage community is so wonderful and has been so good to us, and we just found where we fit. We found our community, our nook, and we took advantage of that because we realized this is what we wanted to do with our lives. Some people like to go out on the road as an artist and grind on the road, and they're really happy doing that. That's awesome. Some people want to, open up their own theater for kids. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know several other idols that have taken their accreditation from American Idol University and have made it into these long-standing careers, and they're so different and kind of all over the gamut of performing, and it's really cool to see. But I am particularly proud of us that we can still say we're here.
Absolutely. There is a first of all, so that was just Idol was just an opportunity that not a lot of people were able to cash in on or turn into the career they wanted, and you guys were able to seize that opportunity and roll with it. You're being authentic and true to yourself. Your diversity has been able to get you through a lot of adversity, right? There's one for me.
Hey, there we go, snap.
That's right. But some people would I only sing, I only act, I only do stage or whatever it may be. I'm having a son that, by the way, thank you guys so much for all the doors you've opened for him. Holy cow.
Happy to help. He's a talented kid with a lot of heart.
Unbelievable what you guys have done for that young man.
And he loves it. You can support that when you see someone that they love to do that.
Yeah.
You want to help that, and that's just being a good person. I
Most
hope
definitely.
anybody does that. If you see someone that needs a helping hand, and you have the opportunity to do that, to be that helping hand, why not? Like it takes, just a little bit of effort, and it could be life changing.
It also doesn't
and
give
you.
us, it doesn't give us, we don't have many opportunities to actually help somebody that has the potential to be in the field as well.
Yeah, because he could have
Yeah.
made you look really bad, right? You could have like
It could go either way, but I say everybody deserves the information. Just like a kid that's not hitting with his hips. Like you would walk by a kid practicing his swing, and if he's doing his 1, 2, 3 and he doesn't turn his hips on 2,
Right.
you're gonna say, "Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
start with your hips on the 2, and
Absolutely.
your hands will just come through." You passing along that knowledge is something that can seem very easy for you to say, because it could just be you walking to the bathroom and you happen to see a kid trying to learn how to swing a bat, and you just say it like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
That could be the moment that makes this kid get the hit in the next game.
Yeah.
That drives a life.
Absolutely. It could change the confidence that totally changes the trajectory of his life.
Everything.
Professional, everything. Yeah.
Everything we've been able to do with Ethan, it's the stuff we want to tell everybody, but Ethan listens.
Yeah.
So
And
we're
Ethan
appreciative
asks.
that he actually asks questions. He asks questions like we do, and he's asking because he wants to do it.
Yeah.
And then the next time we see him, he's doing it for you. He's doing a performance. Like he's actually showing you what he's practiced.
Yeah.
So Ethan, I mean, we will happily help knock on some doors for him, but he has just massive valleys that are going to be open for opportunity.
He's singing a lot more now, and he's honestly, he had a show while I was out of town where he was just him singing, no drumsticks or nothing, and I hadn't heard him sing in a while, because when he practices, he's mic'd up in the room on his own, and I kind of leave him alone until he asks for help. I honestly, like, how parents would be like, I heard him sing the first time, and it just melts your heart, you start crying, all that stuff. Like I felt that. It was the weirdest. I was like, is that him? Is that really him? First question he asked me after I saw it, I was like, dude, that was on it. That was great, because if he's not great, I tell him. I'm very honest with him. First thing he said, he's like, can you send it to Ace and Diana? First thing out of his mouth. I promise. And I was like,
That's
no, but you
awesome.
can. I was like, you can. When they
Yeah.
get back, you can show them.
That's amazing.
I can't
Absolutely.
wait to see it.
It was cool, man. But he's gonna ask for critique, just so
Nice.
you know.
Well,
He's gonna ask for
Happy
it.
to help.
We will happily tell him what we feel.
Yeah.
Well, none of us have gotten to where we are by ourselves. This goes back to us, gathering. Whether you're, in business, selling tomatoes or playing drums or whatever it is, we can't do it all by ourselves. So, if whether you're on the giving or the receiving side, just being open to sharing information and
Right. It's huge.
helping each other, it's only going to bring everyone into a better place. I don't think it could ever be a bad thing if it's meant with good intentions. Of course.
Awesome.
So there was with talking about the opportunity. So you guys know we help people launch their businesses. We launch a lot of careers, and it's funny, the people that are successful versus the ones that are not, all the ones that are successful actually believe they would be, right? And the ones that are not, that's usually something that they had to overcome, or they didn't make it. Most people do not know how to learn from failure. They quit with failure. So just for instance, how many auditions have you not gotten the role? How many times did you make a movie, or like what you guys are talking about, you literally were doing press to open up 2 nights later for a show that didn't happen for 2 or 3 years? In the real world, right? In what we call the real world, the business world, people quit over that stuff every day. Every day.
If we tried to calculate the amount of auditions we have gone on, which 99% of the time it's a no.
Yeah, you don't get it. You're just meeting people half the time.
We would be here for the next 2 hours.
But it doesn't have anything to do with your talent. It's just like
No.
you weren't the right height or
Yes.
whatever they're looking for a specific thing.
There's
right?
so much more that goes into it. If you remove your emotion out of it, which is hard to do, especially in the arts, because our job is to be emotional.
Right.
So it is hard. We have lots of divas and divos in our industry, but listen, that goes out to the rest of the world as well. But if you can remove,
Oh, hold on. Let me give you one. It sure does.
if you can remove your emotions from the situation and just look at it like a business transaction, I must not, that's okay. Was I not the right size for the costumes? Was I the wrong height? Did they hire somebody who maybe was a little older, so I just didn't look the right age, or whatever it was?
Right.
Just let that go, because if you try to sit there and calculate and overanalyze it, it's just going to drive you crazy.
Right.
The only thing you can really do is be your best self.
Oh,
At the end of the day, no matter what's happening or what industry you're in, you can only be your best self. And so you go in there and you present that. And if that works for them, great. And if it doesn't, you move on.
That's so
and if
good.
there's not another project, maybe you need to make it.
right.
And we've been there. We've sat there long enough where it's like, okay, nothing's coming. I guess, you know what, maybe we should do something. And, hey, sometimes those are hits and sometimes they're stinkers.
Right.
But that's just part of it. You just got to keep going. But you do learn from it, hopefully,
That's
every
right.
time. If you can just say, what did I do differently, or what do I need to do differently next time? That can happen whether it's an audition or a record launch or a show.
Right.
You just have to that's life. You don't know until you know.
That's right. That's right. There's I was listening to Grant Cardone one time talk about his big book, the 10X Rule, that's so the bestseller that's done so good. It was like his 8th book, and he's like, none of the first 7 sold at all until that one did, and then everybody went and bought the old ones. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, if I didn't just keep putting out the books, keep putting out the content, there's the same thing. You can go look at his YouTube right now, and there's some stuff from years and years ago that only have like 60, 70, 80 views on it, not the millions that it normally gets. But those are starting to get traction, or they already are getting traction, have been getting traction because of all the popularity of what he's doing now, right? So those things come to life. Randy Travis's first number one that my dad and Charlie worked on together was 1982 came out. On the Other Hand flopped. 1982 came out, was a big hit, and then they re-released On the Other Hand after, where it beat out 1982 for Song of the Year, and it was a re-release. That's right.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you can only go out to who you can get your word to their ear. Like, you can only hit the people that are ready to listen, right?
Right.
So if you don't know who's paying attention to certain people or how fast things will go, you don't even know what the platform is. I mean, when I was on Idol, I didn't even know how big it was.
Right.
I was in a van. I was in a building. I was in a van. I was in an apartment. I was in a van.
Yeah.
I was in a building shooting a commercial. I was in a van. I was in an apartment.
That's it.
I didn't see anything for people. But then the minute I went to an airport, I couldn't go anywhere because I realized, wow, everybody's watching because I can't go to that bathroom. Like, I can't walk 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But you have no idea. So it's really going to be interesting.
Talk to me about the highs and lows, like, of the popularity cycle that it is with something like that, where we were watching, we watched something the other day, Rhea and I did, and, I know what it was. It was with the Super Bowl and the halftime show, like, 50 Cent has reinvented himself a couple different times to now he's this big green light production person in Hollywood with TV, and he's got this whole...
He's a screenwriter. He's a producer. He's a director.
A drink creator.
Yeah.
Dude, and that was... And like, not long ago, they were calling him a washed up rapper.
Yeah. Everything is cyclical. So, like, the world spins around. Mm-hmm. The ocean goes back and forth. Nothing is going to ever be... And this is, again, back to consistency. Being at 100% is nearly impossible all the time. It's not, the world doesn't do it. Mm-hmm. We can't do it. Like, go ahead and just let it go now, because if you keep trying to attain for perfection 24/7, you're just going to burn out. But if you can kind of spread yourself out maybe, or, find new ways to reinvent yourself, take those times in between things and again, learn from your mistakes.
Right.
You can come back and reinvent yourself. And it doesn't, who cares if you did well or if you didn't do well. As long as you keep going,
Right.
that's more admirable, and whether it's like, hey, I was a performer, now I sell insurance, or hey, I was a rapper and now I'm a screenwriter. Like, he kept going, and I think that's so admirable.
I think that's human, though. You're not supposed to just be known for one thing. If you were the guy that climbed a mountain and you were known for climbing the mountain when you're 30 years old, there's no reason you have to reprove that you can still climb the mountain when you're 80.
Right.
Like if you hit the biggest home run of all time, you don't have to recreate it.
That's right.
I feel like we're supposed to move forward and through things. We're not supposed to stay in that time capsule that everybody's trying to keep, because it's impossible. Dust settles. It starts to build up. You can't stop it, and you're creating the dust just by living.
That's right.
So it's interesting with our career, being that it's our own personal self and our brand and our real name. Like a lot of people don't even have their real name with them. They create a name. That's
Right.
their stage name. They have their own thing, but same people in my house call me the same thing from the show. So it's us. With us, it's like it's waves of opportunities that people get to hear about.
Right.
You can't think of it in any other term. If you think about it as popular or not, pop is just it's the popularity of what the platform is that's throwing the information out. That's the popularity check. You're just doing the next job. Mm-hmm. It's not you. When I get a job and I do what the director wants, when we go to open,
Right.
I don't read the critic and take anything for me. Right. I legit ask the director before we open if I've done everything that they want me to do as the character that they want on that stage.
Yep.
And if they say yes, I say, cool. The critics are on you now.
That's right.
I'm doing your show.
That's right.
So it's up to them. You can't take it personally because that's just a wave. And if you take that top part of popularity as your norm, that bottom part's going to kill you. And it's not about you. It's about what you bring and what you do. It's really, you don't have to time capsule and be Aretha and just hit respect every day for the rest of your life.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I mean, Aretha is actually a great example. If a lot of people don't know, I mean, with many artists, how many records they put out before they get a hit, or how many, when you hear a greatest hits record, it's the greatest hits. Of course, you know all those songs. If that artist is so lucky to even have a greatest hits record,
Right.
Right. So many people think it is easy to just see what's happening, popularity wise, or what's happening right in front of you and think, oh, it's an overnight success. But I mean, as you all know, that 10 years of overnight success.
That's right. It's the same way in business, dude. Like nobody makes it big quick. It's, God, the amount of failures that I've had, I'm 41 now. I mean, just chalk up most of your 20s and half your 30s too while you're at it,
And everyone's journey is different. So many people want to be given the answer, and sometimes the answer hasn't been made yet.
That's right.
So you have to be brave enough to maybe create your own.
Ooh.
And it may be right and it may be wrong, but you got to figure it out.
Or you may be crazy.
Right?
I think we all have to be a little crazy. Just to come up with an idea outside of the norm. Like you have to be different. You got to be outside of the box. But that's the fun.
If you embrace who you are and what you do best as your best self, you will create an idea that is your idea. So it all goes back to if you take care of yourself, and not in a selfish way because it's easy, but if you are your best self and you put whatever that is for you, you will come up with what is meant for you and your idea.
Awesome. Absolutely. This is incredible, guys. When you start your business and especially when it's new, 999,000 out of $1 million will be underfunded when they start, right? So that means the CEO is also the main sales guy. He's the marketing department. He's the billing department, all that stuff. So when you guys, especially when you're first starting out, not only were you, like you mentioned, what you're doing at home when you were wardrobe and set and production, all that stuff, you guys are also negotiating contracts.
Most definitely.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because like at the end of the day, it's all about people go to work to generate revenue or to generate some money to live on, right? So they can make some choices. Talk to us about like a lot of people when they start the business, they undervalue their service or what it is that they do. Are artists the same way?
Of course.
Okay.
People on Lower Broadway in Nashville, Tennessee only play for tips.
Hold on. Broadway. There you go.
In Nashville, Tennessee, all of that live music you see when you go downtown, those people are only paid on tips. Only recently have people started, some have started adding in salaries, or hourly.
Hundreds of dollars.
Oh, right?
Yeah. Hundreds of dollars.
Oh,
Crazy.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, God, what was the original question again? I detoured on Broadway.
We could stay there for a while.
I know.
No, it's just like understanding knowing how to value what it is that you
Yes.
bring to the market, right? So as performers, you're there's one of my favorite images is of the guy getting the tattoo, and it's this beautiful like dragon, and then you see what the guy's tattooing on him, and it's not a dragon at all. It looks like a sixth grader is drawing on a piece of paper, and it says you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for. So obviously, you guys were just as talented when you didn't make as much to perform. So how did you grow into that?
You live and learn a lot. You start to learn what you will settle for and what you won't let fly.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest negotiation tip that I've learned is you don't get what you don't ask for. The worst someone can do is tell you no.
That's right.
How awful are those two little letters? Not that bad, y'all. It will go by in a second. And if they say no, pivot and ask again in another way. You might be able to get something you didn't even know you wanted because they said no. So it's like, so in negotiation, again, remove yourself emotionally from the situation.
Yes.
Figure out what do you need to do this successfully and be real with yourself. And if if you are real with it, what you actually need sometimes versus what you want, those are two different things.
Right.
Sometimes you get what you want, but you focus on what you need and just ask for it.
You can always incentivize the rest. Like how many guys wanted $20 million for the movie, but they took 14 and they get a portion of gross or whatever it is later down the road based on performance and all that kind of stuff, right?
Even actors do that going into bigger movies. If they can't afford the big budget actor, they'll get a percentage of the production.
Right. They get creative.
We've done shows where, they call it a favored nations contract. And so basically everyone in the cast is making the exact same amount.
Okay.
Or every principal role would be making the exact same amount. So,
Like Friends did back in the day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then again, you can incentivize through ticket sales. So instead of I can't get the base pay here, I can take a percentage. If ticket sales reach a certain amount and you've hit what you need to, I then get a percentage of your overflow. So it's like you just figure out ways to make it work for you.
There's always a way.
There's always a way. And sometimes, again, you have to get creative. Like when we went out on the road with Joseph, we got to ask for a gondola, which is something with living and learning. I had toured with the gal who had one, and I was like, how did you get one of those? Now, gondola is basically like a rolling closet.
Okay.
So when you're on the road, you only have your suitcases and usually a trunk.
Living on the road is it's fun for like a month.
If you make it that long.
That's
Most people kind of, within like 2 weeks, they're like, I want my house, But you've been out there. And so we were able to negotiate a gondola. And you know how many people later on have come up to us or come up to me and said, I never in a million years would have ever even thought to ask for this. But now I've gone on 2 tours and I've gotten me a gondola. And it's like, see, you just have to ask. They didn't even know they could ask.
It's huge because then when you show up to your next performance place, your room's ready. Your closet is already in the room. It's opened up. You have your humidifier. You have all your comforts, your workout stuff. Everything's there, and you didn't have to carry it.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. Yeah. It's kind of like coming home to a house that just got cleaned or a lawn that just got mowed.
Exactly.
And it was something that I realized we needed. It was something I wanted, but when I realized what the show schedule was going to be,
there you go.
How much work it was going to take for us. And we also had our dog with us at the time. And, traveling is hard, but the show itself is also very hard. So I knew we needed that. And luckily, we got it.
The one thing that I learned is there are no rules to entertainment negotiating. So, which basically means there's no rules to negotiation, because that's where I learn. If I learn from the entertainment world and then take it out, that means the next layer of business world, there's no rules to negotiation.
Pay attention, folks. Pay attention.
It's whatever you want. So if you need a beach ball, you can ask for a cigar boat.
That's right. Green M&Ms. Oh, you've heard it all, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there's funny rules to those. The reason why most people put that at the end of their rider for green M&Ms is because all they have to do is see a bowl of green M&Ms and they know that everything else is taken care of. Because it's the last thing on the rider and it's right there in the middle of the table. I don't have to look for anything else. I know that you got my Nutri-Grain bars. I know I got my Gatorades. I got my things that are my comfort.
Right, whatever, yeah.
But if we have to leave the venue to go get food, even if it's fast food, we're missing out on 30 minutes that we could be rehearsing with the band and the sound and the lights and the crew. Like, we have to be there. So that's why you ask for those things.
Those little things that you can put into the contract just let you know if the little things are covered, the big things are covered.
But you can ask for anything. If you wanted a pizza every single show, you could ask for a pepperoni pizza in your dressing room at 30 minutes before every show, and that would be there. If they wanted to value your need for the pizza and they said it was a good endorsement for them.
Yes.
Well, it's amazing, a lot of when you're growing a business, you start with one or just a small amount of people, and the bodies grow, right? The amount of people that you bring on grow, and it's the same thing. The moment that I actually enjoy cutting grass, right, at my house, but I haven't done it in a few years because the work schedule got to a certain level, and it was like that hour and a half I could have spent hanging out with my kids, my family, or I could have made 10 times what I would pay somebody else to cut the grass, right? So it's understanding the value of your time, understanding the priorities and where you provide the most value to your time, right? And is there any other way to learn that than experience?
No, I think you have to just dive in, and whatever it is you're doing, learn as much as just do it as much as you can. When artists come up to us and they're like, "Oh, how did you get started singing?" I was like, "I just started singing. I found every open mic night I could in my hometown, and I really drug my mom there and vice versa, when I was a kid. So you have to kind of start somewhere.
Hands-on experience is everything. I mean, you could read the book on the Bible, but you're not God.
That's right.
You got to literally go through it. I've learned more by putting my hands in the dirt about gardening than I've ever read.
You ain't scared to put your hands in any dirt, bro.
No.
Let me just tell you.
I will build whatever needs to be built, and I will conquer whatever weather throws at me, for sure.
The drum room that you built for Ethan is a freaking state of the art. It's unreal.
It's a castle. It's
and
like a little
you
fortress.
just made it up.
Yeah.
You just made it up. You drew it on a piece of notebook paper.
Yep. And it has 3 layers to the walls and the ceiling and a 15-inch floor with 3 rubber footings so it doesn't vibrate the cement. Like, that thing's sexy.
But you also learned while you were figuring it out. You never built one before. You had one in your head.
I always wanted to make a drum room because the loudest instrument are the drums. And most people don't have a drum room because they're so loud. You're just known to be the loud house at the end of the block if you have drums.
Yes.
And I've always wanted to make that drum room. I literally had it drawn out, but the chance that I actually had to make it made it so much bigger than I thought it was going to be, because the roof being as high as it is, allowing so much storage above it is genius as well, because drums have so many things to carry drums in.
They do, and that's all right. So Rhiannon, don't tune this out. She doesn't look there. All of her presents and stuff, they get hit on top of the drum room. She don't look up there. She don't look up there. This morning for Valentine's Day this year, we were literally I was like,
where do we hide it?
Run outside, and he's at the bottom of the ladder, and I'm handing him the flowers
Yes!
and all that kind of stuff. It's incredible. She never looks up there.
That's awesome.
I love that. But back to opportunity. This was an opportunity you presented as a friend.
Yeah.
It kind of just came up in conversation between you two about you guys had moved, you guys were having the baby. You were like, what are you going to do with Ethan playing? And we just happened to be home, which was a crazy life blessing. But Ace, you took it as an opportunity to go, hey, I could create something really cool that's going to help serve my friend.
Yes.
And also I get a chance to learn. Why not? Let's do it.
I got to be a kid in the candy store. I was playing with Legos.
I love
we've
that room.
Used that. That's something that, these are skills that you may not know you're going to need again, but life comes again, full circle.
Mm-hmm.
You've done stuff now for helping with other people with productions where you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what we need to do because of that drum room.
Yeah, most definitely.
Filming in studios and helping other friends build up their studios and other things like that. So if you just see life as an opportunity to learn and to better yourself,
yes,
kind of at all times, then you're going to be okay.
be here.
We're constant
Absolutely.
students.
Be present. Be
Absolutely.
here. See what's in front of you, and it's almost like when you the thing about kids talking to their grandparents, and grandparents don't get the attention of the kid because they're on their devices nowadays. I understand it.
Right.
We're all that kid now. We all have the devices, but we have to have some time of the day where we put it to the side and it's not on a vibrate or a notification mode, and we're actually here. Like you go touch a tree and you ground your energy and you actually feel what's in front of your eyes.
Absolutely.
And I feel that if you can do that, you don't even know what you're supposed to do.
So I have two more things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, right? So one is you mentioned the foster pups. I definitely want to talk about that. And by the way, on Ethan's room, so we, Ace and him made a unbelievable video showcasing that room. We're going to put that in the link with all the details when we air the episode. Because I mean, seriously, it's got the lights change colors. Like I mean, it's double vaulted door, like double Lexan glass. Like I mean, it's unreal, dude. Like there's a mattress hidden under there somewhere.
There is under the floor, so that way it gives it the stage vibe. So it gets
totally
a little
bounces.
bit of a bounce. Yeah,
yeah, dude,
yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible. We absolutely love it. So, all right. So, is there anything else besides those two things that you guys that you want to talk about? That you want to talk about? They check time. We good on time. Everything's good.
Yeah,
awesome.
great.
Awesome. Is there anything else besides the pups? And then I was going to ask you guys like just favorite experiences. You guys have shared the stage with some, literally world-class Hall of Fame, timeless acts, right? So I was going to ask you about those, if any of those that stood out, and roles you're excited about for the future, and then the pups. Anything else?
No, that's good.
No, I think that's good.
What you want to start with the pups first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. So you guys foster puppies.
We are big dog lovers, and
We're actually all animal lovers.
yes, and somehow animals always find us. We always have squirrels or raccoons, turkeys, deer, dogs, cats. Something is at our house at all times.
Most definitely. We had a stray cat in our bedroom today because he's now learned how to use the doggy door.
Yep.
Okay.
So he now can use the dog door, come in our house. Well, he came in when we were doing our morning coffee, and he
crawled
got
in
right on the
bed.
bed. And just
He's
sat there.
like Stray who?
He's like-
a Stray.
But he hangs out for
home.
like 15 minutes, and then he's like,
And then he
okay,
leaves.
bye.
He
And then
he hunts behind the house.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So we had a dachshund. Her name was Rosie.
Rosie.
She lived to be almost 17 years old, and she was our road dog.
Diana had her since she was a puppy. She
Yep.
could hold Rosie in one palm. She was so little, like a
Yeah.
little chipmunk.
And so I've always had an affection for dachshunds. When Ace and I met, he lovingly referred to Rosie as a football that he wanted to punt.
That was
And
my
I
way of showing
politely
affection.
told him, "You touch my dog, you die."
Yeah.
And, we fell in love.
She was that perfect light brown of the leather skin.
Yeah.
It looked like a football.
Yeah.
So when we were sent home in 2020 from our show, it was the first time we were home after Rosie's passing without her being there. And the house was
was
creepy
quiet.
quiet.
Yeah.
When you have a pet and you hear a creak or you hear something, you just assume it's the dog or the cat or whatever. When there's nothing there, I was like, who's that?
Oh, yeah.
You and the ghosts, Diana.
And we've been supporting a group called the Tennessee Dachshund Rescue for several years, but mostly from afar because we are on the road. So
Who are they again?
Tennessee Dachshund Rescue.
Tennessee Dachshund. We need to do something cool for them.
Yeah, they would love
All
that.
right. We need to do something cool for
TDR.
them.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
They are a great nonprofit that we discovered for my 30th birthday, when in lieu of presents, we did dog donations and dog adoptions. It was great.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
So we decided to start fostering because of the COVID, people were giving up their dogs, and they had like 40 dogs that didn't have homes, and so we started fostering. And fast forward 18 dogs.
We had
Year and a
18
half?
dogs
Really?
live at our house. So 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 4 at a time.
Okay.
When we finally got through all of it and got on the road going to Vegas, because we're finally leaving for the first time for a couple months, we count out the dogs, and we were at 18 dogs
Wow.
that had lived in our house. It was insane because as a kid, I had one dog for 16 years. Diana had her dog, and I got to share that. That was kind of my second dog, Rosie. And then we had 18 little amazing spirits that went through our house, and they were awesome, man.
And we got to be a part of their story, and it was great to
Absolutely.
to know that we were helping them relearn how to trust humans again.
Learn how to play with toys. Just learn how to dog.
Yeah.
Be in the yard, pee in the yard, like just all the simplest things. And we got to see them really blossom.
And I'm very certain that they helped us, if not equally, if not more, than we hope that we helped them. And it's great to now know, like, we're friends with their forever families, and so we get updates on them, and we get tagged on Facebook, and like, the Christmas card, and and it's just so sweet to see those little creatures of all ages that were so innocent, going on living happy, healthy lives. It was a good way to kind of put a little salve on our own wounds during the shutdown.
Absolutely. So, all right, walk me through the process. So what's the average? There's probably different timelines for every foster, right? So, like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so typically with the younger dogs, they go very quickly. A young, healthy dog will stay with us sometimes only a couple weeks.
Okay.
It could be just a couple months.
A couple weeks is legitimate, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of. Are they trained when they get to So okay, so you guys are opening up your house.
Yep.
The set now. It's the set now.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And you are dealing with some elderlies that haven't been potty trained, so you're teaching them. And
Bless their
teaching
hearts.
a 10-year-old is a lot different than teaching a puppy.
Sure.
So you can get a puppy to do it within a week or so, at least know the routine, so you can try to get there before the things happen. But
try being the operative word.
but yeah, we found that with these dogs, from just being born to being elderly, they all had one thing in common, and that was to a loud sound, they would all cower to a corner. They were broken machines. Like
something had happened to
They
each of
didn't
them.
feel safe enough to just be. A lot of them hadn't even been in a yard. They had only been in a kennel for their entire 6 months of life.
Okay.
So they didn't even know they were allowed to go in the yard. Then they go into the yard, and they didn't know they were supposed to go to the restroom there. They could chew on sticks. Like, I basically chewed on sticks to show dogs they could chew on sticks.
Right.
Like
because he's a giant dog.
And it was amazing to see them learn, and actually quickly.
Yeah.
Real fast.
Once you have the trust, the first step is building the trust.
Right.
And that's with any being.
Oh, man.
Is building trust and letting them know that they are safe and that you aren't going to hurt them. And some of them, like with puppies, instantaneous. They're like, oh, love me, life is great. This is amazing. And then you have some that maybe, we had one as young as only 4 months, and she was already so emotionally traumatized. She didn't come out of her crate for the first 2 weeks we had her.
Bless her heart.
It was heartbreaking. And, she's been adopted a little over a year and a half now, now I think about it. And
she's still got things to get over.
And luckily, like, her family understands that she may not ever fully lose some of those traits.
Yeah.
But they are willing, as much as we were, to be there for her and just let her know, she's going to be okay. And she does have still now these little like milestones that she reaches, and we get a tag on Facebook or a text, and it's like, yay, Nilla, you're doing it. Like, I'm so glad. But that dog was as young as 4 months and was already there. And then we had some as old as, 12 that we had to start with. And each case was different. You had to just kind of assess the dog and then help them be their best selves.
Right.
And then they could blossom. And then as soon as you could tell they were comfortable, they understood life again, the perfect family came around, which is right when we would go,
Right.
Maybe
Every
you should
time.
stay. Oh, no.
Right when we started to see how their life would be with us, that
Right.
their little nuances would fit with our life, the perfect person would call, and they would have a better layout for that dog, that specific dog, than even us.
Right.
It was meant to be. We were the in-between house, and that was okay.
That's awesome.
That was the first thing I had to get used to, is like, we're just trying to get you back out there.
Yeah, letting go's got to be tough.
Yeah.
It's been
In the beginning it was, for
yeah,
sure.
the first couple ones were really hard. But again, once you know they're going where they're supposed to be and your part of their story is over, it's okay. It's like it's like the perfect handoff that life moves on and they're off having fun in the sun. But we also, as fosters, we remain there as a service that if they ever need, if the new families anything, they could ask a question about the vet. They could ask, if they have a trouble with emotions or whatever it is. we're always still there. So it's not like, people are kind of abandoned
Right.
after they
It's
get
like
this new
customer
dog.
care. We're
Sure.
We're still there for the dog.
That's right.
And the coolest thing is we get to see them. So one of the dogs got adopted by my brother-in-law, your brother.
Yep.
So we get to see this dog that we got as a puppy
Regularly.
that was like the tiniest thing ever. Now it's just this big old like schmooze monster. She is the cutest thing ever. Lays on her back and just basically sweeps the floor with her tail as she looks at you with love. Just belly up. It's amazing. And she's the coolest dog ever. We saw her first experience with snow. And she had snowballs stuck all over her long fur, and she was trying to run away from it. It was very fun.
Dachshunds aren't meant for snow, but
Dachshunds
that's okay.
aren't meant.
I bet. I can imagine. Well, that's incredible. So the Tennessee Dachshund Rescue, we got to do something cool for them this year. So,
We would appreciate
we're going
it.
to follow up on that for sure. Yeah, we got to do something neat for them. Very, very cool. We actually do something great for our month of hope in November, but we're not going to wait that long.
All
we're going
right.
to do something different. So that's awesome. Okay. So you guys have, I mentioned before, you guys have shared, all right, let me hold on a minute. Let me just see here. So you mentioned the stuff on stage. Diana, you have done TV as far as even a recurring role on The Young and the Restless. That's a household name for sure. Broadway shows. You guys have both released some amazing music. Ace, you've been on Bones, and you had a lot of TV credits. You also co-wrote "It's Not" the Daughtry single "It's Not Over," right?
I did.
Which was Grammy-nominated. Yeah. So look, I'm saying all that to say, first of all, that's awesome, right? That's awesome. But two, you guys are hanging out and collaborating with the best of the best, and they could probably say the same about you. It's got to be incredible hanging out with people of that caliber.
It is. It's inspiring to be around people when you see them doing what they do best and shining in their best light, and it's what they love. It's inspiring. You can't help but a little of that, juju rubs off on you. We've been really lucky to be in several rooms that I never in a million years would have ever thought I would be in, or stages I've been on. One memory that sticks out in particular is we've worked a lot with the USO, and golly, this was a few years ago back now, but it kind of reminded me going out on stage in, we were in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and my brother was in the military at the time.
You guys have literally traveled the world doing this.
We
Most
have,
definitely.
yes, aircraft carriers and everything. But we were on a stage in Kandahar, and my brother was actually in Afghanistan, but not in the same city. So it was really hard. I was like, oh, I'm so close. I'm literally miles away from him right now. And, Peyton Manning is on stage throwing footballs, and Ace and I are on stage singing. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders are dancing. Like, it's a whole corral.
Show. It's a show.
And then I look over, and a girlfriend of mine from high school
Wow.
who's a Marine, like going,
Wow.
what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? I knew you were stationed, but I didn't know you were here. Like, those moments.
And how amazing were our armed forces and receptive to what you guys were doing?
Oh, it was
That
amazing.
is the best stage to ever be on. And it is, yes. And it is from where I can't relay my level of appreciation. I'm like,
Most
no.
definitely.
I'm trying to fangirl over you. Don't fangirl over me. I'm fangirling over you. This is amazing what you all are doing. You're literally on the other side of the world protecting us.
Giving us freedom. Yeah.
And you as a civilian, I come from a military family, but as a civilian, you don't have an appreciation for it until you can really, unless you're either with it in the family or you see it with your own two eyes. And when you see it with your own two eyes, it'll change you for sure.
That's right. Incredible. So who are some acts, industry folks or whatever, who's had some of the biggest influences on you guys?
I know Diana's biggest influences are Patsy Cline.
Yeah, I've got that. So we're going to talk about that. What's next, right? In just a minute,
Yes,
right? So cool.
yes.
So Patsy Cline. All right, cool.
Patsy's the reason she sings.
Okay.
The first song she sang as a kid was Crazy, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
And Jackie Wilson is the reason I started singing.
Oh man.
Dude can sing Lonely Teardrops like he could hold a tune.
Yes.
So it was interesting how we both came in from old school music that really inspired us, and we became fans of everyone's music from that
Right.
point on. Now, had I met Jackie or you met Patsy, we might have just totally disappeared and not been able to breathe. But we got to meet some really, really amazing people and work with them, a la Stevie Wonder. We did a lot of stuff with Stevie. He was on my year Idol, and we actually did an event with him where everybody else, all the other idols that were with us, were a little shell-shocked. And when he said, get some people up on stage to sing, Diana looks at me and she goes, no one's going? Yeah. So we jump up on stage.
Opportunity.
And we're right next to him.
When Stevie Wonder points to you from stage, points to a group of singers and says, I need someone to help me out, and no one moves, I was like,
Diana had my hand and pulled, and we were up on stage jamming with our buddy. It's amazing just to think that someone who has had that many hits, has written that much music, also plays so many instruments.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Is a kind heart, would take the time to say hello after the gig, would talk to you, actually cared about what you said, and then would send a follow-up. So after that moment, I got invited to Thanksgivings for his family at the hotel that all the idols just happened to be at, that he throws Thanksgiving for every year. He puts his family in a hotel room so that they don't have to make their own bed.
How about that?
That's his way to say, guys, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing.
That's all.
So it's very interesting, the people that we get to run into, and there are other people that you almost don't want to meet because you don't know if they're going to have a good thing with you or a bad thing. So
Sure.
I've had people that I had a chance to meet and I didn't meet because I love them too much. I was like, nope, I hold you too high.
That's right.
I don't want you to mess up what I've built you into.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
It's crazy.
and people do that to us.
Yeah.
People sometimes, especially right after the show, right after we did Idol, they think they know you because they've seen you on the show. And so they're very familiar with your background and who you are. And they come up and they're like, hi. Wait, you don't actually know me. Sorry, I don't know you.
Yeah.
So hopefully, it all goes well. But one person I can say that is definitely always themselves and is exactly who you want them to be is Dolly Parton.
There you go.
We all know it. She's amazing. She is the Dalai Lama. She is my Dalai Lama. I've gotten to work with her not once but twice, and once as a kid and then once as an adult, and she is just the most incredible presence to be around. First off, you smell her before you see her, so I tried to have a signature scent for a while. It wasn't my thing. I'm too lazy. But she's...
I hope I don't have a signature scent because it's not on purpose. It would be good.
Like, what is this?
Honey, I hate to break it to you, but...
Oh, no.
Hot tamales. I smell like Sour Patch Kids and hot tamales.
Yeah, Ace, that's exactly what it's Yep. But so I worked with her as a kid at Dollywood, because every year they do a big grand opening of the park every year. And Dolly comes out. It's a big to-do. And I was in a show down the road in Pigeon Forge called Music Mansion, if anyone was there in the 90s. And they we're rehearsing for the big performance that's going to kick off the parade, and all of a sudden there's this big hubbub, and they're like, "Oh, Dolly's coming, and they said, "Okay, now I'm also 10. I'm in the 4th grade or 9 maybe," and they're like, "Now you're not don't talk to her, don't bother her, everyone." And I get it; they were doing their business well. That went in one ear and went out the other, and I just said, okay. Well, then when no one was looking, I just walked right up to her and said, "Hi, Dolly Parton. I'm Diana DeGarmo," and she looked at me and said, "That's a mighty big name for such a little bitty person."
Oh my gosh.
Just on cue. I swear she must have 1,000 lines lined up. I mean, she is the world's most, she is the world's, what is the?
Most published?
Yes, she is the world's most published female songwriter of all time. Mm-hmm. She's published like over 3,000 songs.
Yep.
And she was so humble, so sweet. And, this was the 90s when technically her career was not as big as it is now. Like, as shocking as it thinks, back to ebb and flow. Yeah. Dolly was having an ebb season. She had lost her record deal. She didn't have representation at the time. Like, she was kind of more of, oh, that's Dolly Parton. That's sweet, not Dolly. Yeah. And, fast forward to 2010, I'm on the 9 to 5 tour playing her role, and she wrote the show. She wrote all the music for 9 to 5, and we opened it here in Nashville, and she was very hands-on. She came to every rehearsal.
Wow.
She sat back there and she'd take notes, and if they needed to change anything, she would fix it, and, lickety-split. She wanted to be involved. She made fudge for the whole company.
Incredible.
Dolly Parton Dolly Parton is making fudge. So if you get too high on your horse about who you are, Dolly Parton makes fudge for folks. Like,
That's right.
And Diana was ready to die and leave the earth when she heard Dolly say, "You do me better than I do."
Oh, man. What a compliment.
She was ready to go. She's like, "I'm dead."
I'm not actually here right now. I'm all a figment of imagination.
But you have moments like that, and
Yeah.
you don't realize how much of a full circle moment it was, because Dolly really inspired you early on.
Yeah.
As an artist as well, and also to write your own music, because she writes.
And she's a strong, feminine woman, and she's a good person. And that's what's always drawn me to her. And, hopefully you hope most artists that you like and follow are like that way. It doesn't always happen, but
Right.
I like to lead with the same way. She set the example. I was like, okay, if she can be that big of a star and still be a good person, then that's what I want to be. And
That's right.
I want to be the person I want to work with.
Hey,
Oh.
that's a good one.
All right. What about you, Ace?
Ooh.
I know who it is.
I have a couple. So mine would actually go with that baseball bat sound.
You have a couple. I mean,
I have a few moments in my life that I think are movies. Like, they're not real.
Okay.
I play them back in my head when I go to sleep, and I still don't believe that half of them happened until I see the actual physical artifacts from the day. 13 years old. My
Okay.
mom is, I'm huge into baseball. I've done my little league time. I'm now on a traveling team. We're doing very well. That's why my mom allowed me to get a ride with her on a blind phone call to Kansas City from Colorado. And if I wasn't such a good baseball player, she wouldn't have done the trip. But she called George Brett, and
No.
she called George Brett's manager.
Really?
And George Brett had a radio show that was going on during the right at the end of the Royals games.
Yep.
Well, my first name is not Ace. Ace is my middle name. I've gone
Okay.
by Ace my whole life. I didn't know my name wasn't Ace until I read my birth certificate when I was 6 years old, and it said Brett Ace Young. My
He got two good first names.
I know, right?
my parents named me after George Brett because in 1980, when I was born, he almost hit 400.
Yes, he did. That's
He
right.
was a beast.
Yes, he was.
So he is God level of sports.
Okay.
My brothers wanted to name me George Brett Young. I'm now Brett Ace Young.
Okay.
But 13 years old, I've known I'm Brett Ace Young since I was 6.
Right.
So I told my mom, I was like, well, if I'm going to be named after the guy, I have a chance, I should meet him, right? So she calls the manager, and the manager says, well, if you just come to one of the games, you could probably meet him when he's walking to do his radio show. So my mom gets in the car. We start driving. We don't know what's going to happen. We get to Kansas City. We're staying with some friends. We go to a baseball game. I see George in the booth where he's watching the game from. And I keep looking up. And at the 7th inning, he stands up. So he's getting ready to go. So I told my mom, I was like, hey, we should probably go to the elevator now because he's going to walk right by. And she goes,
that's so
okay.
smart.
So we get up. We go to the elevator. We're standing at the door opening of the elevator, which is the hallway that he has to go down to get to his radio show. And we're standing there and we're waiting, being polite, trying not to be pushed out by the people that work there because it was a little security area. I'm holding 2 baseballs and I'm nervous. I've been practicing. I've been saying his name. I've been saying my name with Brett in front of it. That's hard to do when you're
Yep.
Ace your whole life, right?
Yep.
So I'm ready. He walks down. I see him. It's like a slow motion 80s movie music moment. He's walking and I have these 2 balls and I look at him and I say, George, my name is Brett Ace Young. I was named after you in 1980 when you almost hit 400. Will you sign my balls? And he looks at my mom and he goes, well, I'm going to have to ask your mom for permission, but I'm sure we could figure something out. So then he signs the 2 baseballs. We get a picture. I'm 13 years old. I'm good. Like, we go home. We're good. I met George Brett. My brothers are all jealous. I'm like, I did it. We succeeded. So now 13 years later, it's 1 year after American Idol.
Okay.
And after that, before Idol, I had done a lot of national anthems and thrown first pitches at baseball games because I love baseball, I love football, I love sports. So I got asked to do a lot of that after Idol. So any town I was in, someone would be like, hey, they're playing a game here. Would you like to sing the national anthem? So I get asked if I'd like to sing the national anthem at a preseason Oakland A's Royals game.
Right on.
And we're in Arizona.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll come out, but I don't want to sing the national anthem because it's just too early in the day. I'm doing a show that night. Let me throw the first pitch. And they go, okay, cool. So I show up. I walk out on the field, and I'm standing facing the pitcher's mound, and behind me I hear, "What band are you in?" And I turn around, it's George Brett.
Wow.
He's managing the Royals. So he's on the road. So I turn around, I tell him the whole story. I was like, "Dude, it's funny. I haven't seen you in 13 years. And he goes, "Huh." And he goes, "But you were on American Idol." And I was like, "Yeah." I told him the whole story, and he's dying about when I was 13, asking him to sign the baseballs. And he calls his wife, and he goes, "My wife loves American Idol. I'm going to see if you're any good." So he puts the phone up to his ear. He's calling his wife. She starts yelling at him once she finds out who I am, because she liked me. And she said her kids even want my CDs when they're ready.
Yep.
So he's like, "Yeah, oh, yeah, okay. I didn't even know. I'll get it." And he's backpedaling out of this conversation, and he hangs up, and he goes, "She said you're pretty good. My kids wanted a CD." So I tell him the whole thing. I'm going to throw the first pitch, and the first thing he says is, "Don't throw it in the dirt," as I'm walking out. And then he turns to the whole team, and he goes, "Ace Young asked me to sign his balls when he was 13 years old." And he tells them the whole story, and I'm dying. So to have that moment hit me, not the 2 times in real life, was amazing. But then to have a childhood buddy who plays baseball, who does a lot of charity things as well within the retired world.
Yeah.
He sends me a picture about 2 weeks later. That's he and George Brett playing golf. And he's saying the stories with Brett because Brett was laughing his ass off about a 13-year-old kid asking him to sign his balls.
That's awesome.
So the story has continued.
That's right.
But it's like those are moments that you don't even know that they're going to happen. They may never happen. You may never have that full circle moment. But I had a name that I was given when I was born. I went by Ace my whole life. I got to meet the guy, and he was pretty awesome. I got to meet him again as a young man, and I got to hang out with him as a young man. It was awesome. I couldn't ask for any more.
I look forward to the next chapter in that book.
Hey.
That's for sure.
Right?
All right. You said you had a couple. So George Brett, who's the other one?
Man, I could go all day.
I know you could. And I know you've shared the stage with my favorite singer of all time, and Don Henley, right? But who's yours? Who's the other one that you've had?
Ooh. That was a magical moment. Henley, I could go into Henley. Henley was a moment where my brother, who documented everything for me, didn't document anything because the moment was so big, he didn't realize what was happening. Yeah. So I was doing Alice Cooper's Christmas Pudding, and that's so cool. I went in to do three gigs, and I had basically the Eagles backup band as my gig band. So I was paying them really well because they were worth it.
Sure.
But nobody knew every single guy on that stage was a ringer. So I had a band. I'm coming out to sing covers, and I start with a song they know. I go into Dream On. The band is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I have 6,000 people that don't know me live losing their minds. All I have to do now is hit the big note and scream my face off. I hit the big note. I do the whole show, and I leave the stage with those tingles, like that high in your body, right?
Yep.
I sit down in my dressing room. An hour later, Don Henley's up doing his set. And over the speaker, I hear, "Hey, before this next song, I'm patched into the house, right? Like they can hear me in the room. Yeah, Ace Young, can you come out and help me with this next song?" I'm a good 300, 400 feet away from the stage.
Yeah.
I thought I was imagining him saying it because I was already over the high of my performance. I was like, well, all right, I did my job. I can relax now. I go running through the arena. I get on stage. I walk out. I don't know where Don is on the stage because I wasn't watching from the front. He's on the far left side of the stage. I'm on the far right. Well, in between us, there's Tommy Shaw from Styx, who's sharing a mic with me. There's Nash from Steels and Nash is sitting right next to us. We have Alice Cooper, and then we have the amazing songwriter that's basically done everything we've heard of the Eagles, right?
Yep.
Every ballad.
Yep.
He gets on the mic and he goes, "Ace, do you know Hotel California?" The first tour I ever saw live was Hell Freezes Over at Old Mile High.
Okay.
I know Hotel California.
Absolutely.
But I didn't say it. I leaned in on the mic, and since he was so far away, I felt like this is our brotherly moment where I can kind of mess with him, put a dagger in. And I said, "I know the lead."
Oh my God.
And right then the whole crowd lost it, and he lost it. He was like, "What just happened?" He goes, "Backgrounds will be fine." So I'm singing Hotel California with him on lead sharing a mic with Tommy Shaw,
Yeah,
and my brother, who's sitting in the front row, is just watching, not taking a single picture because he's watching everyone he just grew up with, and his brother is performing with them. He was like, my body didn't work.
Incredible.
It was an amazing moment. And those are things that you never know are going to happen.
That's right.
Very next day, the headline of the newspaper said, Ace does Dream On, to where Aerosmith would be proud. And that was like the headline, is that I would have made Aerosmith proud with my rendition of Dream On.
That's
For the
incredible.
Christmas Pudding charity.
Man.
It was so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I could sit around, and you guys have stories for days, and we could sit around and
Talk shop.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. And you know, even as friends, it's such a cool life that you guys are leading, sitting back and getting to watch you guys chase, quite frankly, your unbelievable dreams. It's such a cool thing. You are the American dream, right? I mean, you're literally living it.
Every day.
You're making, everything that you guys have, or like you've built it, you've created it. Nobody gave you anything. It's absolutely incredible. And you're just getting started, I think.
We all are, you know, we do it our own way, and we take each day as it comes. And so far it's served us pretty well. And we feel very, very fortunate for it, but you just got to take it one day at a time.
There it is.
And be where you want to be.
Ooh, that's a good one too. Absolutely. Do it. There we go. Had to let it finish. So be where you want to be. So, guys, did we leave anything else? Anything out?
I mean, we could talk on so many tangents, but I think that covers the bases.
Next things we got is we'll be in Cape Cod doing the other Patsy show.
Yep. So Ace and I finally get to do this other Patsy Cline show. Who knew that another one even existed? But we're looking forward to doing that next. And the show that we were in when the shutdown happened finally got another theater. Yay!
Yep. And that's Skates, right?
Skates the musical. Yes, we are coming back to Chicago. It is a Chicago story. So we are opening the show in Chicago
At the Studebaker.
at the Studebaker Theater, right on Michigan Avenue.
Awesome.
And we will be the first live show back at the Studebaker in over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. And then you got a weekend run that you were just mentioning with the musical Closer Walk and you are playing Patsy.
Yeah.
And you are playing a
Little Big Man, the radio
host.
DJ.
That's right.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Amongst many of them.
I do get to play quite a few characters. I get quite a few monologues in that one as different people. It's going to be fun.
Oh man, that's incredible. That's awesome. And to hear her sing some Patsy's got to be, you get to hear it all the time.
It's insane.
Absolutely.
It's not work. I just get the best seat in the house.
That's right.
I get to be on stage looking at her.
That's right. Well, guys, so first of all, let's make sure everybody knows where they can find you. So, Diana, you released an album, Gemini, which is your latest release, right? And they can get that anywhere that's streaming music.
Oh, yeah.
They can check it out on DianaDeGarmo.com.
Yeah. If you like vinyl, we've got a few.
Yeah.
I love mine. And so both of you guys are on social media. So your Instagram, Diana, is Diana D. Young.
Yes.
Right.
Because somebody else bought my name and then tried to get me to give them lots of money for it. And I said, I don't need it that badly. You can keep it.
That's right. That's right. And then on Twitter it's Diana DeGarmo, and you're also on Facebook as well. And then Ace, you are on Instagram as Ace Young, and on Twitter as I am Ace Young.
That's it.
Right. And I know on your Instagram, gosh, you can see all the stuff you've done around the house. Like, look, Bob Vila would be.
He'd be very proud, I think.
Absolutely.
I would hope. I would hope I'd make Bob Vila proud.
Or scared, you know.
That's right.
You can actually see even some of the foster dog stuff. We have some fun videos of fosters chasing remote control cars with their toys on it. Once the other fosters would leave, if you had a group of 4 and you only had one left, we created ways for them to play with what would seem like another dog.
That's incredible.
Remote control car was a huge hit.
That's incredible.
But there's videos of that stuff on there as well on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We just have a good time. You know, we try
Gotta
to
have fun.
Yeah, just be ourselves and be open on social media. But, you know, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a
It
part
is.
of the world that we understand what it is, and especially for our industry, social media is so important. But at the same time, we try to be human with it,
Sure.
so we can be in the now with the humans that
Absolutely.
we're with in person.
Exactly.
So
We'll
come
be-
hang out with us if you want to hang out with us on social media.
See us on a stage.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I know we're going to. Well, you two, thank you. So I can't thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for hanging with me today and going through reliving all those things. The stories were amazing. Just having, again, we had some real star power up in this piece today. I love
Hey.
it.
We had
I
a
love
good
it.
time. Yeah.
You know it.
You made the room where it happens. We're here to keep making it happen with you.
Heck
Congrats.
yeah, man. Heck yeah. And I'd love to have you guys back when next time you're in town for a break, do some more catching
Hey.
up, tell some more stories. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Awesome.
Do
Well,
it. Maybe we'll have Ethan come sing on that episode.
you never,
Yeah.
well, all you got, he's like little Michael Jackson. Like,
Yes.
he's got the microphone he's holding up, but he's really like,
He's
leaning
on the
in.
side of
Oh,
it.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
Absolutely.
That'll be great.
So he would totally do that. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Hit Streak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And once again, thanks so much for all the amazing feedback. We absolutely love it. We read every single thing. Do not forget to click that subscribe button so you know each and every time a new episode drops. Once again, thanks for tuning in. God bless.